Today we're talking to St Albans City manager Ian Allinson from a very warm Clarence Park. We have a heat on the Saints. We certainly got turned up today where we went down 4-1 to Weymouth in National League South. I thought the first half, Ian, was probably one of the most entertaining first half we've had down here this season. We gave a good account of ourselves, but we let a goal in right on half time, possibility of offside. Started the second half well, had a few chances, then it got scrappy and we fell apart after that.
Yeah, I think the third goal took a lot out of us, David. I think up until then, I think you summed it up well. It was a good game. For me, probably a little bit too open. But we created chances and had chances, and they created chances and had chances. And I think it was a little bit unfortunate with the second goal in terms of the foul given against Albert, and then obviously the free kick was a sort of missed kick, gone off the side of the wall. And they reacted quicker to the ball coming back off the post. But again, as you said, 15 minutes in the second half, we had a really good spell. I felt we were right on top. We were dominating the game. We were keeping the ball, passing the ball, and then we give a poor third goal away, and it sort of just stung us a little bit in terms of our reaction. We made some substitutions to try and get a little bit of life back into the team, but I felt by the time we'd done that the game had gone. We've had the goal which Sam scored, was he offside or not, and created a few chances in terms of corners, but we didn't play with the same momentum I felt in that last 15-20 minutes as we'd done for the first hour, and that was disappointing. And and I expected a reaction when we put the substitutes on, and I didn't get a reaction, which is a shame. So again, it looks like a poor result in the end. On paper, it is a poor result, but I've just said to the players, the performance wasn't as poor as the result is. But there's areas there we have to improve in, and that's the way it's been really since the first game of the season. And we can't get carried away with a victory at Hungerford, because obviously we've just shown how vulnerable we are to some of the better teams in this league, and there's no coincidence that teams like Wealdstone and Billericay and Weymouth have scored 10 goals against us, because they're better than us on the day, and they've taken their chances, and we failed to take our chances.
Of course, 10 goals in 3 home games, isn't it? We had a 3-3 and a 4. Talking to our video guy at half time, he's saying how open we're, how the spaces behind our defence early on. They could have put us under trouble, early on.
I mean, obviously we've gone with Ollie down the right back area with Joe being suspended and David being suspended and Joe injured. But Ollie did well, but I think it's the runners that they had coming off, the fullbacks making runs in behind us. We didn't track people well enough. We didn't stay with runners, and their runners caused us problems. And if you do that, no matter who you're marking, what you're doing, if you've got a runner coming in behind you, it's always going to be difficult. And we spoke about it before the game in terms of their wide men come inside, run off the wings, leave spaces for the fullbacks to come in. But if you don't pick people up, or you don't pick the runners up, you're always going to be susceptible to the breakaway. And that's how the first goal come. He's coming off the wing, one ball over the top, we're still squeezing up, nobody's putting any pressure on the ball, and the runners got in and obviously slotted it home. And we came back well. We've got the equalising goal. It was always going to be tough. We've got that, and I felt coming at half time, and we're going to go down the slope with a bit of momentum, can put them under a bit of pressure, and as I say, before you know where you are, a minute before half time, you're 2-1 down, and then you've got to go and chase the game. And at the moment, we're not great at chasing the game, with the game's getting too open. Spaces are being left, as we said, and it's causing us problems.
You've mentioned in the past about changing things. Is this the moment where you say, right now, I'm going to have to change things?
I think it puts me in a position where I have to look to do things, Neil. The problem, when I say a problem, we have to make sure that if we're going to change personnel, that we bring the right personnel in that's going to improve us. Obviously, myself, the football club and the fans can't accept performances. Though it wasn't poor, it still ended up poor because it was 4-1 in the end. So there is a weakness there in terms of the way we've seen the game out, because certainly that could have quite happened against Dorking. The game got so stretched and they could have got a couple of goals late on. So we have to understand why. I look at everything in terms of our fitness levels, in terms of our ability on the ball, our ability to retain possession of the ball, and I think that's one thing at the moment. Our ability to retain possession of the ball hasn't been good. We give the ball away too cheaply, and it doesn't hurt, and we don't win it back quick enough, and we allow teams to get from their 18-yard box into our 18 box quicker than it should do. And they're all the things we have to look at in terms of, are we too open, too expensive? Do we have to close the game in a little bit, become a little bit more negative in what we're doing? but be harder to play against and harder to beat. The personnel we brought in, you know, they're all very good footballers. Are they all just footballers? And you know, we have to get the mix right, because if we have too many footballers in the team, then teams have found that, you know, you can cause teams like that problems, and that's what it felt to me, and that's the things I've got to look at. But I've got to make sure if we are going to change personnel, I bring the right personnel in, and we've got to look around. We looked around last week, what was available, there wasn't really a lot. But again, you know, we're going to have to look again. You know, there's a lot of agents giving me a lot of names, but unfortunately, you know, a lot of these players aren't signed by anyone, so a lot of players are coming in from abroad. We're not in a position where we can have a look at them in a practice game at the moment, because of the fixtures we've had in terms of 11 games in 6 weeks. So unfortunately, we train on a third of an AstroTurf on a Tuesday and a Thursday, so it's not as if we can have a full-scale game where we can bring some trialists in to have a look at them and see what we can do. So we need to see what personnel are around, what the pro clubs have got hanging around. You know, if they've got things better than what we've got in terms of players, then we might have to move and maybe look at bringing 1 or 2 in this week if we can do that.
I mean, one of the areas perhaps that you might look at is someone who's going to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and I guess having Scott Chilton back, he's the type of player who can do that.
We've also got Scotty, and I think we see it in the first 3 games how well Solomon did, but every time at the moment he plays a game, he's breaking down again. You know, we've put him on a bench today. Would we put him on? Probably not. But you know, we've got to make sure we work hard with him on Tuesday, and we need him fit for next week. So we've got players there that will take charge of the game. But unfortunately, in terms of, you know, having them fit, Scotty's come through today okay. His calves a little bit tight, but expected, because he's done nothing since really in terms of just running since the start of the season. Solomon needs to get right, and as I say, we've got the midfield players there, but you know, you said it there. Do we need a more physical midfield player? Do we need somebody who's going to go and win big headers and big tackles? But we also need to hold the ball up properly. We need to get hold of the ball. We need to make sure, you know, how many crosses have we put in today with quality? There hasn't been many crosses coming to the box, so you know, we've got in good areas. We haven't hit the target. I think Reece had 2 chances in the first half, and both went wide of the goal. Where the first one, I think he needs to make the keeper work. You know, we've had the shot that's come back off the keeper. We've had the one that's just gone past, but again, it's I don't think it's just one area at the moment. I think we need to look at everything from what we're doing wrong in terms of how we're playing, because I can't see how. I thought the first half, even though the game was open, I thought we played really well. It was the best I felt we'd played probably all season in terms of the ball retention and the way we went forward. We created some great chances, got in them in really, really good areas. But the last 15 minutes we got caught out by 2 balls over the top, which caused us problems, cost us a goal. And then the 2 goals really in the second half both come from set pieces out here where they fouls. Again, you know, at the end of the day we can question whether they're fouls or not, but we have to defend our box better than that, and we didn't do that. So, you know, do we have to go and defend every set piece we've got like a corner? Because we've defended the corners all right, but we've got to go and make sure that free kicks when they come in the box that we've got people picked up. And certainly the last one, he's just smashed it across the face of the goal. But again, you know, we get free kicks and we float them in, and the goalkeeper comes and clicks it. So they're all the things that we have to talk about. They're all the things that we've got to try and change. And it's got to change mindsets, because if players are not going to change the way they are at the moment in terms of their performances, then we've got to try and change their mindsets if we can't bring the right players in. But certainly we need to look at doing something slightly different, because, as I say, that to lose 4-1 isn't acceptable. Even though I felt, you know, at times there we was in the game, but last 20 minutes I felt we were good in patches, but I think the game got too stretched out, and they were better at doing it than what we was, and their ball retention was much better than us in the last 20 minutes. It's
the FA Cup, of course, next weekend. FA Cup's always important. 2 reasons for us this season: financially, and also when you're struggling inside, a little run in that can give you a boost. But if we were to get the better of Worthing next week, would it be a bit like Hungerford, where you're beating the side at, well, Hungerford are the weakest in our league, I would say, we've seen so far? It would hide over things, paper over things.
Yeah, I think we've got to be careful in terms of where we are now. And I always said I would give the players 10 games. Unfortunately, you know, this week in terms of some of the personal things I had to deal with, it was always going to be difficult to move too much this week. So certainly got a free week next week. But I think you've got to be careful. We're not just papering over cracks, and we might have to move where we can move quick enough, where we can get 1 or 2 players in. I don't know, but we've certainly had good spells in every game. You know, you can look back to your Billericay games, you can look back to Dorking, you can look back to Dartford. All of these games we've had good spells, but it's the consistency that we need. And even today we've had a good spell, but the consistency hasn't been there for 90 minutes, and that's the big thing where I'm concerned, is we can't maintain a momentum, we can't maintain keeping the ball in good areas, we can't maintain getting crosses into the box and getting goals from that. You know, we're relying on Joe at the moment. I think that's his 7th goal. You know, as I said before, and I said it before the game, how many goals has my wide men scored, how many goals has the wingers, as the wide men created? And they're all the areas we have to look at, because you know, we need to firstly keep a clean sheet. We haven't kept a clean sheet since the start of the season, so they're all a big worrying sign of where we are. But the good thing about it is that, you know, we have spoke about it. We know where we are, and as I said, you know, I'm not a fool when it comes to these sort of things. So we've got to be careful we don't change too many too quick. We've got to be changing. Now we're going into the FA Cup, that you bring players in that can't play in the FA Cup, so we have to be very careful how we do it. But the answer to your question, yes, we do want to go well in the FA Cup. We want to get through to the next round. The money is going to be important to the football club, and it does build momentum. But also, is that we've got to be careful we just don't paper over cracks by keep going the same old, same old, same old. And this situation arises again in 4, 5, 6 weeks' time, because we'll be 15, 16 games down the line, and we've got to make things happen quicker now, and change things around as quick as we can to make things better. Because we need to play better, we need to score more goals, and we need to stop conceding the amount of goals we're conceding.
You mentioned Scotty Sholton came off the bench today, his first game of the season, so he's looking for match fitness. The same for Zane Banton. Solomon, when he comes back in, he's going to need a game or two, one imagines. What about position for Joe Howe? How's he looking?
He's good, he's trained today. I should imagine he'll join in full training on Tuesday evening, which will be good. So I should imagine he'll be back for next week. David DeHager, obviously suspension was today, so he'll be back for next week. So in a moment, you know, by next week we'll have a full squad to pick from. But again, it's okay having a full squad. You know, we've got to look at everything in terms of what personnel we put out there, and are we going to be good enough on the day? Because it's shown over the course of this season our performances level hasn't been good enough in terms of the 11 games we've played on 9 occasions. Okay, we can count some of the draws, but already we've played 11 games and lost nearly 50% of them in terms of 5 defeats. And that at this stage of the season isn't good enough. You know, we've got to improve in that area. We've conceded too many goals. I thought the goals we conceded today were too easy. You know, I'm questioning the 2 centre halves. You know, do they get people to defend in front of them correctly? You know, the game gets open too quickly with us. You know, we go forward great, but then we get caught in a counter attack very, very quickly. And they're all the things that we have to question in terms of what we have to do, you know, and do I need to give the 2 centre halves a kick up the backside and bring somebody in that's going to liven them 2 up, because you know they've got the shirts, they've been together for 11 games now, and as a pairing they've conceded too many goals. But do they get protection? Probably not as much as they should do. Has the 2 centre halves got to grip with their midfield players and getting people to hold and protect them and keep their fullbacks at home, and the wingers going protecting the fullbacks? And probably not. We're very good going forward at times. We're very good on the eye at times, but you know, to be fair, that's not good enough when it comes to trying to get results. And you know, sometimes we need to be a little bit ugly in what we do and protect what we've got, and hopefully just create some chances by being a little bit different in terms of the way we play and what we do. And we have to be better in terms of seeing out games than we did today, because we didn't see that out well enough today.
Thanks so much, Ian. So next week we've got something a bit more cheerful to reflect on. As we say, it's the FA Cup second round qualifying, when Worthing are visitors to Clarence Park. That's the 21st of September, and kick-off is at 3 p.m.